In the vibrant yet modest village of Olukimi, where the sky meets the earth in an endless embrace, lived a young girl named Gozi. Orphaned at a tender age, Ngozi was taken in by her stepmother, Ifeoma, who had a heart as cold as the Harmattan wind. From the moment Ngozi stepped into Ifeoma's house, life turned grim. Ifeoma's household was an oppressive place, dominated by cruelty and neglect. Ngozi's days were filled with arduous chores. She would wake up at dawn to fetch water from the village, a task that left her hands raw and blistered. Ngozi, exhausted from a morning of scrubbing floors and washing clothes, found herself lost in the forest. Hours passed and dusk began to fall. Finally, she gathered a small bundle of firewood and made her way back. When she arrived, Ifeoma stood with an angry scowl, her arms crossed. "Is this all you have?" Ifeoma sneered, eyes dark with disappointment. "You're useless. If you can't even gather decent firewood, you deserve no supper." Ngozi's stomach growled, but she was sent to bed hungry, the hard ground her only comfort. The next day, she was punished, further tasked with cleaning in the entire house with just a damp rag, scrubbing until her fingers bled. One evening, the village was abuzz with excitement over a festival to honor the harvest. The air was filled with laughter and the aroma of roasted yams. Ngozi, desperate for a taste of joy, approached Ifeoma. "Please, can I attend the festival?" she asked softly. Ifeoma's eyes narrowed, her lips curling into a sneer. "You think you deserve to enjoy such luxuries? No, you will stay here and clean." As Ngozi watched the festival lights flicker from a distance, tears streamed down her face. Her heart ached with longing and despair. The festival seemed like a world she could never belong to. Months passed and Ngozi's suffering seemed endless. One day, Ifeoma's youngest child, Chinedu, fell gravely ill. The village healer, Madame Folake, was summoned. Her diagnosis was grim. Chinedu had a rare and deadly illness that could only be cured by a special herb found deep in the forest, beyond where Ngozi had ventured before. Ifeoma, frantic with worry, realized that no one else in the village knew where to find the herb. Desperate, she turned to Ngozi. "You must go to the forest and find the herb," she demanded. "If Chinedu dies, it will be your fault." Ngozi, though frail and weary from endless toil, agreed to go. She ventured into the forest once more, but this time it was different. The forest, once a place of isolation, now seemed like a labyrinth of hope and desperation. Ngozi journeyed deeper into the forest, where shadows danced in the moonlight and strange, eerie sounds echoed around her. Hours passed and her heart pounded with both fear and determination. Finally, she stumbled upon a grove with a single, glowing plant, the herb Madame Folake had described. Clutching the herb tightly, Ngozi made her way back through the darkness. Her strength waned, and she collapsed once before dragging herself back to the village. When she arrived, she handed the herb to Madame Folake, who quickly prepared a remedy for Chinedu. The village watched in tense silence as the healer worked her magic. Miraculously, Chinedu's fever began to subside, and his color returned. Ifeoma, overwhelmed with gratitude and shame, fell to her knees before Ngozi. "I am sorry," she sobbed. "I have been cruel to you. You have saved my child. How can I ever repay you?" Ngozi, though exhausted and weak, looked at the woman who had caused her so much pain and said, "Forgiveness is a gift, but it is one I can give freely." The village, touched by Ngozi's grace and sacrifice, began to see her in a new light. Ifeoma's heart began to thaw, and she started treating Ngozi with the kindness she deserved. Over time, Ngozi's life improved, and the pain of her past began to heal. Years later, Ngozi, now a young woman, was known throughout Olukemi for her kindness and resilience. Ifeoma, once a symbol of cruelty, had transformed into a loving mother. The village learned from Ngozi's story a tale of suffering turned into compassion, and how the shadows of one's heart can lead to the light of redemption. The echoes of Ngozi's journey lived on, reminding all who heard her story that even in the darkest times, the light of kindness can shine through.